This video is going to review the factor and remainder theorem as well as dividing using the tabular method and synthetic division. So number 1 says determine if x minus 3 is a factor of 2x cubed minus 4x squared minus 7x minus 10. Explain your answer. So remember that is a factor means there's no remainder. So I'm going to use the factor or remainder theorem here, and I'm going to use the shortcut. I'm going to set my factor equal to 0 and find the 0, and then I'm going to go to my calculator, and when my x is 0, my y value is going to be my remainder. So I'm going to put this part here into the y equals on my calculator. So y equals, I have 2x cubed minus 4x squared minus 7x minus 10. Now I'm going to go to my table by hitting second graph. I'm going to scroll to find 3. And at 3, I have negative 13. So my answer is no, x minus 3 is not a factor because there is a remainder of 13. Number 2 says identify 2 ways you could have mathematically justified your answer for number 1. So obviously the first way is the factor or remainder theorem, which is what we used. But if I wanted to, I could have actually divided, either using the tabular method or synthetic division. So let's take a look at an actual division problem so we can review both those methods. Given f of x equals 3x squared plus 7x minus 20 and g of x equals x minus 2, state the quotient and the remainder of f of x divided by g of x in the form q of x plus r of x over g of x. So remember, all this is saying is it wants the quotient plus the remainder over the divisor. Okay, so now we're going to start with the tabular method. So I have 3x squared plus 7x minus 20 divided by x minus 2. Remember, this is my divisor. It goes on the right side. This is my dividend. It's going to go on my diagonals. So when I go to set up my division, I'm going to have x minus 2, 3x squared plus 7x minus 20. You're always going to start in the top left corner because that has to match. What times x gives me 3x squared? 3x. Once you get a top piece, you multiply. 3x times x is 3x squared. We have it. 3x times negative 2 is negative 6x. This diagonal has to add to give me 7x. So I should have a positive 13x here. So up top, I should have a positive 13. Once we have a top piece, we multiply. 13 times x is 13x. We have that. 13 times negative 2 is negative 26. This does not match, which means there has to be a remainder in here. In order to find your remainder, With the box method or the tabular method, we're going to do negative 26 because that's my inner piece, whoops, plus my remainder, and it has to equal negative 20. So I could add 26 to both sides. My remainder is 6. So if I'm putting my answer in the correct form, my quotient, 3x plus 13, plus my remainder over my divisor. So that's the review of the tabular method. Now let's do the same problem with synthetic. So I start by finding my 0. X minus 2 equals 0, which means x equals 2. That's going to go on the shelf. Your coefficients from the dividend go here. We bring down the first piece. Then we multiply. 3 times 2 is 6. Once we get that, we add straight down. 7 plus 6 is 13. Then we multiply. 13 times 2 is 26. Then we add straight down. Negative 20 plus 26 is 6. Remember that this piece is my remainder. Then it goes constant, x to the first, and so on. So my answer is 3x plus 13 plus 6 over x minus 2. My answers should match because I did the same division problem, I just did it using 2 different methods. It's like with multiplying, if we did one with the FOIL or distribution method and one with the tabular method, they're still going to give me the same answer. So how can I check my remainder? On a test or a quiz, you want to check it to make sure. So we're going to use the remainder theorem. My divisor was x minus 2. I'm going to go to my table in my calculator. I'm going to go to the y equals and type in my dividend, which is 3x squared plus 7x minus 20. Let's go back to my calculator. Y equals, clear it out, 3x squared plus 7x minus 20. I'm hitting second graph to go to my table. At 2, my answer is 6 for y, so that means that that is my remainder. So this is my remainder, which checks out because my remainder when I actually divided was 6. So there's your review of synthetic division, tabular division, and the remainder theorem.